as well. So without any further delay, I would like to start with the presentation regarding medical management of Parkinson's disease. Dr. Sidra Khalid is a fellow of neurology, and she has done her fellowship in movement disorder from University of Nebraska, USA. I would like to call her up on stage for her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for such a nice introduction, Dr. Zulkarnain. So today we will be discussing Parkinson's disease. Okay, throughout this presentation, the learning objectives are, especially for the young neurologist as well as neurosurgeon, we will be going through anatomy of basal ganglia, the normal physiology and the pathophysiology of Parkinson's disease, clinical features of Parkinson's disease, treatment of Parkinson's disease, and treatment of common motor fluctuations and dyskinesias. Okay, so this picture shows the anatomy of all the ganglia that makes a part of basal ganglia complex. So over here, this is a large caudate nucleus. Just medial to it is vitamin, followed by globus pellucidum. This is the most important output pathway of basal ganglia, and medial to it is thalamus. Over here, this is the substantia nigra, the main modulator for the movement of basal ganglia. Now the pathophysiology. There are actually two important pathways which modulate ongoing movement in case of Parkinson's disease. The one is direct pathway, which activate the movement, and the other one is indirect pathway, which inhibits the movement. Okay, this substantia nigra, actually why D1 receptor activate the direct pathway, so the movement is initiated and the movement continues, while by D2 receptors substantia nigra inhibits the movement while activating indirect pathway. Now the important clinical features of Parkinson's disease. The most common feature of Parkinson's disease is tremors. Okay, the tremors of Parkinson's disease are usually of higher amplitude and low frequency and more common at rest. Moreover, other common features are bradykinesia, that is slowness of movement due to overactivation of indirect pathway, as we already discussed, loss of postural reflexes, and rigidity. There are also non-motor symptoms associated with Parkinson's disease, which can be broadly classified as neuropsychiatric, autonomic, sleep disturbances, and sensory symptoms. Okay, there are certain red flags while deciding in whom we need DBS or treatment. We should know that in idiopathic Parkinson's disease, there are late onset bulbar symptoms, but there is no early bulbar or inspiratory dysfunction. Moreover, there is no early cognitive impairment or autonomic dysfunction. Moreover, the disease is usually asymmetrical throughout its course, and the patient does not become wheelchair bound over the period of 5 years. Now comes the treatment. The treatment is both pharmacological as well as non-pharmacological. The non-pharmacological treatment include exercise, rehabilitation, and support groups. Moreover, the pharmacology. So now moving on to the exercise. These are the exercise activity we advise to patients with Parkinson's disease. The patient should be involved in aerobic activity, strengthening and balance exercises, and stretching exercises. Now the pharmacological treatment. Okay, for pharmacological treatment, we may divide patient having tremor dominant disease or those having rigidity. We should start these patients with anticholinergic treatments. Moreover, the patient who are younger than 70 years of age can be given dopamine agonist rather than levodopa itself. In older patients, we may start levodopa-carbidopa combinations. Apart from that, we may also start in younger patients monoamine oxidase inhibitors, including slegilin and resergelin, along with exercise. If the disease progress and the symptoms does not resolve, we may start COMT inhibitors to increase effect of levodopa carbidopa along with amantadine, apomorphine and estradiol. Now, what are the common challenges of medicine? The common challenges of medicine are, as the disease progresses, the number of dopaminergic neuron reduces within the substantia nigra. Initially, there is honeymoon phase in which there is more active levodopa available to the brain. But as the disease progresses, the number of neurons die and the phenomena like delay on, wearing off occur. Moreover, at the end of the disease, the troublesome dyskinesias appear. So we have to deal with all the motor complications associated with Parkinson's disease, especially in advanced stage. So the common motor fluctuations are wearing off, on and off, and delay on. Wearing off means that the symptoms reoccur before the next dose and the therapeutic window has been narrowed. On and off, the resurgence of symptoms, even the therapeutic level is there, but still the patient experience on time, that is freezing episodes. While in delayed on, the symptoms does not revolve at the given schedule or the time of onset of the medicine increases and it has been delayed. So the treatment of motor fluctuations include medical therapy, which include entacapone, amantadine, sulfonamide, estradiol, subcutaneous or inhalable apomorphine or inhaled levodopa. We may also increase levodopa or increase the frequency of dosing. We may also include dopamine agonists to the therapy. Finally, if the symptoms does not resolve on medicines, we may consult the patient regarding surgical therapy, that is TBS and focused ultrasound therapy. Okay, so dyskinesias. The treatment of dyskinesias is to reduce dose of levodopa CR or monoaminoxidase inhibitor or entacapone if the patient is on these therapies. We may start amantadine or levodopa carbidopa infusion gel in patients who experience more common motor fluctuations or dyskinesias. Moreover, we may also try clozapine and quetiapine, that is the atypical antipsychotics. Finally, if the troublesome dyskinesias does not improve on this medical therapy, we may offer STN or GPI DBS suppressions. Now, early morning dystonias are very common in patients with Parkinson's disease as the disease progresses. In this case, we may start with crushed levodopa along with carbonated drinks. We may give dopamine agonist, baclofen, anticholinergics, and if the symptom does not resolve, we may start with botulinum toxin. Okay, symptoms of non-motor symptoms. There are some common troublesome non-motor symptoms in patients with Parkinson's disease, including depression, apathy, hallucination, and psychosis. We may give SSRIs, SNRIs, or in case of psychosis, pimavanserin. This is exclusively for patients with Parkinson's disease associated psychosis. If the patient is having orthostatic hypotension, we may start midodrine or fludrocortisone. For urinary dysfunction, we may start solifenacin. For constipation, is usually hydration, macrogel, probiotics. And finally, if the patient has sleep fragmentation, we may start melatonin, excessive daytime sleepiness, modafinil. In case of severe pain, these are important symptoms of Parkinson's disease, we may start monoamine oxidase inhibitors. Finally, for fatigue, we may give Residilin. Okay, so this is from my side. Now, Dr. Talha will continue with the surgical treatment of Parkinson's disease.